put it up on YouTube later, so you can watch it back too. So,
Okay.
so yeah, let's have a look.
Oh yeah, you can fast forward here. I was
Okay,
just
so
clicking around.
here
Oh,
we.
but
Oh yeah, I just wanted to see who we were against. So what about this game is big indicators that you need to take in.
Nautilus and Nara
Okay.
just gonna jump on me.
Okay. Yeah. We also have a Yasuo that can
Yeah,
chain off
so
into.
combo as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're gonna jump on you now. You on your team right now. You have a Senna who can kind of keep you alive, and Xerath can kind of peel a little bit. This Set and
Hmm.
Nocturne are probably going to jump in, so it's going to be a
Right.
bit rough for you. But if you just play it out later on into the game and wait for them to use some abilities, especially things like the new W, then you can
Hmm.
actually potentially take the fights. Now you do have your invisibility and your Q, so it's very easy for you to actually maneuver. But it's one of the things about Vayne; she is still very low range, so it's
Yeah.
a little rough. Okay, so your HUD is small, which is good. What monitor do you have, by the way?
Uh, it's an MSI optics,
Okay, is it one?
144 hertz.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe try capping this down a little bit. Sometimes you can find that if you cap the FPS to the hertz of the monitor, you actually end up with smoother games.
Okay.
So maybe
So
we
I would
can.
cap it at 144.
Yeah. There's a setting
Okay.
that's preset for 144.
Okay.
Okay, so here now, who's the enemy ADC again? Jin,
Jin.
right? So one thing you could have actually no, Nocturne does want to start red. So one thing you can actually do in lanes like this
Hmm.
is if they're going to leash like this, which I think they are, what you can actually do is if you've got something like a Nocturne who can clear the jungle on his own anyway, instead of
Right.
helping on this, what you actually want to do is you want to go and pull your wave just so that your lane isn't completely doomed. Now, right here,
Okay.
if the Nocturne is starting on your red buff, what does that mean for your laning phase?
He's going to path top lane.
Yeah, so he's pathing topside, which means, which is okay because on the one hand, you are both very squishy bot lane, and if Nautilus catches you, you are a bit doomed. But also, you guys don't really have any hard CC that you can use. So before level 6, it's very hard for him to actually gank you.
Hmm.
So it is the right decision for him to path topside, but this is kind of one of them games where you've got to go, okay, if you're going to go topside, what you want to do is you want to come down here and you want to put a ward in this brush.
Hmm.
Actually, no, not in this silo. So just come down and just sit in this brush. And then if they're pulling or leashing, sorry, what you can do
Yeah.
is as the wave arrives, just come out. All you've got to do
Yeah.
is the lane will kind of look like this,
Yeah.
and then they'll come in a straight line. And then what will happen is if you stand here, they will go in like a battle formation where the melees will go front and the
Right.
rangers will go back like this. As soon as they do this and all three of these mages focus you, instantly
Yeah.
go back into the brush. So this is the brush, instantly walk back in, and then what will
Hmm.
happen is your wave will come up to about here, and your first melee minion will get focused by all three casters.
Right. So they push.
Yeah,
The
so
lane pushes
they
through.
kill the first melee almost instantly, which then means your wave has a 3% less kind of tankiness because the melees are kind of those tanks. So
Hmm.
because you have 33% less, you will get a push in, and then what you can do is you can farm safely by here,
Right.
and it doesn't matter then that the Nocturne is going top because you're safe by your tower. So that's
Right.
something that you can do,
That's
and
good to
it's
know.
very good to do because when
Okay.
you're in these matchups where it's kind of doomed, as
Right.
long as you know what the push and like about the push and pull rule. So if I said the push
Yeah.
and pull rule, would you understand what I meant by that, or?
Uh, push and pull rule.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so it's just a basic rule. Now, one thing here as well, this is a really heavy pull. When it's a champion like something like Nocturne, pull to about 135, 136, and then leave because
Okay.
he's more than capable of doing. 139 is the last point you want to be around the buff. If you're not leaving
Okay.
by 139, then that's kind of rough for your lane. So here you're
Okay.
not leaving till 141, which means if
Yeah.
they leave at the right time, they end up in the lane with push prio and you're a little bit doomed.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so push pull rule, it's kind of simple. So see here right now, Jin has managed to get all 3 of these front ones, and you're going to struggle to get all 3 of these. If this Nautilus
Yep.
played this properly and walked up here as well, you're dead.
Right.
Because he will hook you level 1, and then you're just done for.
Yep.
So, yeah, one of these things. So, if we're to talk about the push and pull rule, it's 2 very simple rules. Here is the halfway point. So, this is their lane, this is yours. If
Yep.
if there's more minions on this side of the lane for them, so if they have more minions here, what does that mean for the wave? So if it's here
pulling.
and they have more, then yeah, it's pulling
Yeah.
in. So what would you look to do when it's pulling in?
Push.
No.
Okay.
So yeah, so this, don't worry, this is a little bit of a trick question because it's a common thing. If the wave is
Yeah.
pulling into you, then that means
Yeah.
that they have no option but for that wave to come into your
To
tower
push.
where you can farm it safely. So
Okay.
if they don't hard push that, then they'll end up in, well, if they do hard push it, very easy way for you to clean up, which then the wave can even reset. But if it's big enough and they're building a slow push, you just want to respect that slow push and let them push it in. Maybe walk up
Okay.
here, get a ward there, maybe even come up and get a ward here if mid is missing, and just
Okay.
wait for the wave to come in, because if you walk up, they've got too many minions, you're just going to die. Like,
Right.
simple as that. And
Okay.
then you can claim them all, because if you die while they're on a slow push as well, you're going to lose all of those minions. So you're going to lose
Right.
2-3 waves of minions, which that's enough to end your entire game, especially on Vayne,
Yep.
who really can't afford to lose that much XP. Now,
Okay.
so we've established that if it's pulling in, we conserve HP, we don't go aggressive, and we just look to farm it when it comes in. So
Right.
if now we have more minions on our side and it's pushing in, now what would that
Yeah.
mean? What would we do then?
We push
Yeah.
with the wave because we have more
Or,
minions.
so push, maybe not push. It will push automatically, but what would you
Right,
look
right.
to do as it's pushing?
Deny them farm.
Yeah,
Nice,
go aggressive, deny them CS, maybe try and get a good trade. Again, if they walk up to you, our wave is so much bigger that we're just going to win that fight if they walk inside, so
Yep.
you can just be very, very aggressive. Now, obviously, there are some exceptions, like if, say, for example, they've got something like a Samira or a Lucian, something that can do a massive amount of early game damage. Sometimes they can still kill you as you're on a slow push, but it's just
Right.
about knowing at what point in the game they can actually do that, which Lucian, it's before you get Mythic. He could do that, but after you've got Mythic, you're relatively safe.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's just push pull rule. So if we actually get into the lane, obviously we saw and we established that we really struggled with this wave, and we left ourselves really open because we pulled for way too long.
Yep.
Now if we just keep going, now this is going to pull into us, and this is a very rough lane anyway, and the Nocturne is walking away. So this is where we don't fight. And this way we just look to let it pull in. Now, obviously this Senate is griefing a little bit. All the more reason for you to be careful with your wave. So even kind of these auto attacks. Now, do you remember off by hand, do you have auto attack turned on or off in game settings? On, so turn that off. Because you want to be making sure that you're in complete control of your champion. That comes down to actually inputting your attack commands too. Auto attack makes you kind of very lazy, and kind of you will just kind of stand there, clear the wave with auto attack, and not actually move. You always want to move in between hits. Always, always, always.
Okay.
Because it's
I'm
a
just
case of you hit, you're already vulnerable while you're in your auto attack animation, but that probably won't get exploited in these elos anyway. But you make yourself predictable when you do things like that.
Okay.
And predictability is massive.
Okay.
So even things like this, do you see with our kind of clicks, like these clicks that we're putting in, they're not really threatening them. I guess we're not in a position to threaten them right now, but see, for example, here, that auto attack you put in. Imagine if this Nautilus would have walked up. I think he was in the brush there too. So see this one auto? Imagine if you threw a hook here. See?
Yeah.
Then you're very doomed. Okay. So she's taking a ton of damage. Doesn't really matter too much. So we do get a nice trade, so that was good. I mean, that you can go for trades like that because you're so close to your tower. And because his hook's down. So this is fine. You've punished his cooldown.
Yeah. Yeah. I had terrible CS this game, so
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we can do drills that'll help you with that. And
Yeah,
even like to warm up, 10 minutes in practice tool, see how many last hits you can get with no abilities.
right. Yeah.
And just base
This
items.
was also like coming back after
Yeah,
a semi-long break,
that's
so
okay.
it got better.
So we weren't really in a position to do anything into the Nautilus there, but we could have actually done something into the Jin here. So what do you actually notice about this situation?
Nautilus isn't with him. We can push.
Yeah.
He's
So
alone
when this
basically.
next wave comes in, this one here, these minions are already going to block him. You can jump on the Jin and do a bit of damage there. It's fine. Your cannon's nowhere near
Okay.
actually being last hittable anyway, so
Mhm.
you can't really do that much there. So you can look for a short trade there instead, because this
Okay.
Nautilus has got to walk all the way around here. Now, there's
Right.
another
Right. Right.
really, really big thing. Now, one of the analogies I like to make for this is, have you ever played chess?
Yeah.
When you play chess, what part moves? What part of the board do you move?
The pieces.
Oh, yeah, the pieces. So, in League, what you basically move pieces too, right? Like,
Yeah.
but would you move the entire board when you're playing chess? Just for your
No.
piece, exactly. Now, the thing I'm hinting at here is we're playing on locked cam.
Mhm.
Now, one of the big problems about this is not only are you confusing your brain like crazy, you're actually not getting the full amount of vision and you're not prepared for fights. Now, right here, it's always going to be harder for you to last hit while you're in locked cam, because
Okay.
it's not like a consistent thing. Where you know where your mouse is going to be at each point, and you know where you're going to have to move your mouse to last hit. So it makes your clicks in lane much harder. Now,
Okay.
one of the things you want to start getting used to is unlocked cam, and then just having it over the areas that you want to play
Okay.
in. Now, especially for team
Yeah.
fights and stuff like this, it can be super valuable. And in the laning phase as well, like right here, we don't get any value out of knowing any of this. We get nothing
Yeah.
from here, you know. Whereas if we move up here, we are focused over them, and also if they kind of mess up and walk up for something really stupid, we can start a fight and we don't have to worry about our camera moving.
Right.
But we know exactly where to click because our scene is always kind of similar in bot lane, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, unlock cam
Yeah.
is something that it is very difficult to get used to. Don't get me wrong, but it's
Yeah.
very valuable.
Yeah. Like my whole like league career, I've been playing lock cam, and like
Yeah,
I've tried unlocking it for a bit, but it was
yeah,
just
it's hard.
very
It's like when you increase the depth that you go swimming at when you're a kid. Like if you're
yeah.
thrown in the deep end, I mean, you're gonna come close to drowning, but like you've got to swim, you know. So you will get used to it. You will
Yeah.
train yourself to get used to it, and then it's a case of just optimizing how
Right.
you use your cam.
Right. I lose my camera a lot. Like if whenever I unlock it, like I
Uh,
do unlock my cam.
okay.
It's like it's on my Y key, so I do unbind for like ganks and stuff like that, or
So what
if
you
I just
can
want to look
do
ahead.
is when you're on unlocked cam, if things get overwhelming, just hold down spacebar for a little bit. Just
Yeah,
get your
I
bearings
have been.
back and then try again. Like we don't want you
Okay.
to just jump straight into it and lose every game. Like we want you to slowly kind of wean your way in. And then what you'll
Okay.
do is you'll end up with a very heavy thumb, which means you'll hold spacebar for quite a while. And then if you push past that barrier, then
Yeah.
it becomes much easier. And you still got that spacebar to reposition on yourself, which is
Okay.
still very useful at sometimes. But
Yeah.
overall, you'll be in a much better position.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was fine. Okay, really big thing here though.
Hmm.
So, after this kill, what do you think you should have done?
Uh.
Right here. I know what you're gonna do, but
Yeah.
what other
Map.
options do we have? Because right now you're gonna try and push this wave into his tower as a only
Hmm.
single target damage champion.
I could freeze the wave
So it won't really freeze,
or like
but
slow push them.
it will
Uh,
stay here for a while. Yeah, so it will slow push. Now,
yeah.
so what could you do here?
Uh.
Where's your
Just
next wave?
freeze. It's doing base.
Uh-huh. So, what we could do here, or what we should have done, just reset on the
Recall.
slow push. Yeah, just recall.
Okay.
Because we've got another wave, which I'm pretty sure there's a cannon wave coming out of our base. And
Mhm.
this wave, we're not going to be able to push a cannon in when theirs comes, right? So, there's
Cool.
no point
Yeah.
in trying to push this wave either. So we reset, we spend our gold, we come out with this cannon, and then what we do
Yep.
instead is when they're in the lane, we deny them the cannon. Now we're 1-0 and 1-1 right now. Even though we are low on CS, we've just got a considerable amount of gold from that fight. So what we can do is we can then try and harass him on the cannon with the item advantage that I think we will have. I'm not too sure. We didn't press...
Okay.
We haven't pressed tab too much here. So see here, you're going to start pushing this in, and then they're going to get back into lane, and they're going to just collect this wave, and nothing's really going to come out of it. And then you have to recall. And, you know, like, worst comes to worst, what could actually happen here is their Nautilus just comes down and freezes this wave. So that is also what will happen, I think. Yeah. So see here. So now you just give them a frozen wave with a cannon.
Okay. Makes sense.
Now, one thing you probably should have done on Vayne here as well is probably just gone Berserker Grease first, just because you know that the Jin is going to get Swifties early, so you need to have those boots so that he can... Oh, do you change them? Oh, no, okay. Yeah, so the longsword doesn't really benefit you as much. So, with Vayne,
Okay.
what is Vayne's primary stat?
The true damage from W?
No, a primary stat. So, if I was to say Draven's best stat is pure AD, what would Vayne's best stat be?
Attack speed.
Yeah. So with Vayne, your damage scales off your attack speed. Now the reason why this is also more important is because you can auto Q to reset your auto, and then these attack speed boots will allow you to get a third off easier. So they benefit you there. They benefit you in long fights, and they also give you the movement speed, which combined with your ultimate, if you've got tier 2 boots with your ult, there's no way they can ever get away from you. Even if you've got tier 2 boots, you'll stick to them. Now, tier 2 boots and your ult, you'll actually be able to outrun him even with Swifties.
Okay.
So it allows you to actually be aggressive, especially at 6. Like, Vayne's biggest thing, people often underestimate Vayne and say, okay, she's only a late game carry, that's all she really does. When Vayne's actually just kind of weak until she gets her ultimate. And as soon as she gets her ultimate, she's super strong.
Okay. Yeah, because the AD bonus and
yeah, exactly. She gets all the AD that she needs from her ultimate pretty much. So you just want to get attack speed before that, and you're set. You know, it's very good for you. Now, here, this is now a product of us not controlling the wave properly earlier. Now we're very vulnerable to a gank, and the dragon is also available. So their jungler's probably going to be thinking, okay, they're in a very tricky spot. Vayne has no wave clear, so you can't push this in either. And Senna's single target. If you had like a Lux, then okay, maybe, but you're in a position where you can't really do that much here, and you're very, very gankable.
Yeah.
If you don't get ganked here, I will be very surprised. Okay, so that was instant. I mean, we could have potentially E'd earlier, as soon as you saw his Q come in. So right here, now this is actually an important concept. So one of the things here, now again, it's going to be a little harder because you're on locked cam. But what do you think is the importance of the face of a champion? So say where you're looking here, your face. What's important about that?
Direction they're moving, or
yeah. So wherever the face is pointing is where they've just clicked. Okay. So this is really, really important, and it seems very small, but this is massive because right here, we see that Nautilus has just clicked back here, right? He's nowhere near. Now, if we look at him in a second, where's he clicked?
Right, like to center.
He's clicked on that center, yeah. So he made it evident at 0514 what he was looking to do. It took him a whole second to actually do it. So if you would have actually noticed him do that, now obviously this is quite difficult, and you know it's something to definitely try and work on. May as well get working on it now while you're in a lower elo, rather than not actually know it exists in a higher elo, you know. So right there, what you could have done is as soon as he actually looked there, you could have just looked to instantly E, and you know that could have potentially made some space so that she didn't get popped. Now she did kind of get popped by the Jin 4th shot, so it was kind of on her. She would have probably died there either way, but it's still something to pay note to, you know. Yeah. So luckily this Nocturne's actually just come and bailed us out. Okay. Okay, a few things to digest here. So firstly, what is something that you should look to do when you're trying to escape yet still do damage.
Kiting.
Yeah, but if you can't see somebody, you can't click on them, right? So you need to make sure you've
Right.
got
Oh,
vision
you
of
can
them.
ward.
Yeah, so right
Okay.
here, you know that you're going to be escaping through here, but the
Right. I
Nocturne's
should
coming
ward.
in. So you do want to keep going. This was right for you to kite back because you want to stay
Mhm.
out of range of the Jinn, but then you
Mhm.
also still want to be damaging somebody, and you can, add
Right.
damage
Right.
a Nautilus. So
Yeah.
what you
I
do is,
cancel my auto.
yeah, if you come down, you put ward in here, and then you
Mhm.
actually do more than cancel your auto. You actually click when you don't see him, and it walks you into him like this.
Yeah.
So if we see here, see, and you walk into him there.
Mhm.
But now also we are playing a little bit scared. So what we could have done here, just walk up, auto him, and then Q straight out. We've got flash as well. We're gonna end up using it, so we basically well get a kill, and that could have
Right.
actually
Right.
turned out really well if we got that kill. But
Okay.
another thing as well, tier 2 boots there, you would have been way more mobile,
Mhm.
and they wouldn't have
Would
been
have done more
able to get on
damage.
top of you yet. But this is the thing, like the things that we mention, like there'll be
Mhm.
other points because obviously I haven't seen this VOD, so I don't actually know what's gonna happen. Like there will be
Mhm.
points where these things that we've mentioned will kind of hint at us again. So like
Mhm.
for example, there, we messed up with our boots, so that happened earlier on. We messed up with our wave management, so we put ourselves in a really bad position. So
Yep.
yeah, these things are very kind of evident as we go through.
Mhm.
Now, right here, you've got a slow push coming up. What
Mhm.
what what do you do? What are you roaming to?
I think I'm just roaming the ward. I'm
Yeah.
warding
So
dragon.
yeah, no. Because right here, you just give away all of the pressure that you've accrued. So right here,
Okay.
you have more than a full wave.
Okay.
And the most important thing is you've got 6 casters, so this wave does so much damage right now. Now,
Okay.
because it does so much damage, you want to be looking to, have a fight with them or at least try and go a bit aggressive around this. And, you don't. If the jungler comes right here, we can potentially fight the jungler inside the wave anyway. Now, what happens
Mhm.
here is by us walking away, we give them the opportunity to just trim down the wave. And now this
Mhm.
wave is not scary whatsoever.
Okay.
So we just allowed them time when there was no reason to. If we get prio, because what we're going to find now is we're going to push this wave into tower and then we're going to have nothing to do. Because we've already
Mhm.
warded and the wave's coming in and Nocturne isn't looking for a drag. Now again, we've just kind of allowed them to trim the wave down there. So if they knew what they were doing, then this is very bad for you. And again, we're in a position now where we can't really push it in.
Okay.
So we're going to, but in this situation, what do you think you need to be doing to try and help your team actually do something that they should be?
Ping dragon.
Yeah, yeah. Now, the jungler probably isn't even looking in your lane because he's probably playing on unlocked cam as well, and he's probably not using his F keys either. So he's not actually going to be able to see what's happening with this wave. So if you ping the dragon, he'll go, "Oh, why are they pinging dragon? Oh, wait, they've just pushed a wave in. Okay, we can do it."
Okay.
So it won't always work, but sometimes it might. Even though I do
Okay.
also recommend that you just mute everything as well. So
I have enemies muted at least.
yeah.
Like.
Now and again, you get 14-year-old Timmy that wants to try and tilt you over all chat.
Mhm.
So this is also really bad here. So what should you be looking for right here? What should your thought process be?
Um. Like
So
dragon, like we said.
okay, but the wave is in a bad state, and you're not.
Mhm.
Are you going to be able to fight them here?
No. So maybe reset.
But the thing we're kind of going for is just focus the minions.
Okay.
So right here, the only thing you need to do is get this wave pushed in. So right here, see, we're clicking on them. We're moving our cursor for no reason. We've just got a big trade on him, and now we're going to lose our cannon. And now all of a sudden, Nunu's come here too. Whereas if we push this wave in, how is
Mhm.
Jin ever going to fight us if this wave is this big under his tower?
Mhm.
He
At
can't
least he
move.
loses the wave.
Yeah, he'll lose way too much. He can't move there. And we've also got a Nocturne that can also come down and help us. So
Mhm.
right here is because Nunu's not a problem. We can E him away. Done.
Right.
So yeah, although you do have to Q then E, but so yeah. So the problem is here. We tried fighting when we weren't in a position to fight, and we needed to just push the wave. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
It's like, you know you're gonna die. I mean, that I would have probably just tried to get some damage on Jin. See again, the
Okay.
boots too.
Mhm.
Like you're completely single target. Vayne is one of the few champions that is only single target with every ability. Now
Mhm.
these help you to kill the minions, but you know, like, you don't really want this extra damage on the minions because, like, this item, unless you can clear waves,
Mhm.
it's really not that good. Like, I
Okay.
personally prefer to get pickaxe and dagger than get this, because it's like you're not going to be pushing the waves anyway. So what's that
Okay.
extra damage going to do? Like, when you're
Right.
killing
Right.
these minions, you want to be killing them when they're like a slither away from dying, you know, where they look like they're pretty much dead, but then you can get a last hit, you know? So that's like the optimal place to get the minions. So this kind of has value that does nothing. Like, you're paying for
Okay.
something that doesn't actually help you. So the raw
Mhm.
damage instead with the attack speed still is really, really good. And then you also have two really good backs after that, because if, say, something goes really wrong in your lane, you come back and get a dagger, a longsword. And then say something really goes bad again, you come back and still get a longsword. Whereas right now you're stuck because you need 875 gold for that pickaxe, or you're gonna
Mhm.
end up with a crit cloak. Which, who wants a crit cloak this early into the game? 15
Mhm.
crit is basically useless.
Okay.
Plus, Vayne doesn't crit anyway, because you can also go things like Ginzes and just get rid of your crits. Okay. So here, like, to be honest, we played it a little bit safer. We have ult. So now, right now, like the entire laning phase before, we've wanted to avoid them
Mhm.
because they're really strong. Now, at this point now, we're very strong and we can do things. So right here, we can see this Nautilus walks up and he tries to hook, right? So he tries to hook and hooks a minion. Now, Nautilus doesn't have his hook. Now, if Nautilus doesn't have his hook, what
Mhm.
else doesn't he have?
Uh, his snare.
His aftershock.
Oh,
So
right.
if
Right.
he doesn't
Aftershock.
land his hook on somebody, he doesn't have aftershock, which means it's really squishy.
Okay.
So right here, as soon as you see that hook miss, you just pop ult and you just go,
Okay.
because you would have killed him there.
Okay.
Even if you dove tower a little bit, it's fine because he still dies, and he's got no hook, so we can't do anything about it.
Okay.
So yeah, at this point, oh wait, what happened here? Oh no. So yeah, so this already fucks in knockdown for quite a while. So here, as soon as you've got that, you want to just be running out, and then also start autoing the
Mhm.
minions. So instantly queue out, instantly start autoing the minions to heal back, because you've killed
Okay.
Jin and Nautilus, right? So
No,
what
I got
runes?
not this already.
Oh, what runes did you go? Oh yeah, what runes did you have this game? Did you have um
Um,
Ravenous
I
Hunter?
can I can pull them up. Yeah, I had
Okay,
something.
so yeah, so you'll have. I mean, you've killed Nautilus once, right? I swear you killed him once.
Yeah.
So here, another thing with your kiting. So this is
Mhm.
fine, but then look at your clicks. So right here, it's like we're looking to go aggressive on the Nautilus, right? So
Mhm.
we're clicking to the side, which, if we're looking to go aggressive on him, we don't want to be clicking. If you look at your clicks now, you click like down here. We just want to be
Mhm.
clicking up here to just keep walking into him.
Okay.
So there we go. So you do manage to kill him. So that
No.
get a lot of damage. I mean, like
Yeah.
you melted him. So even though you haven't killed him, you force him to back now. So it's the same thing pretty much.
Yeah. Mhm.
So now you know he's back. So what could we actually look to do?
Maybe focus the Jin down.
Yeah, when we've got ult. So this was really bad. We're greeding way too much for these plates. This wave is going to
Okay.
push back into us, and the Nautilus is in his base. So
Yeah.
because he's messed up, this Jin is now free, because there's nothing he can do to stop this wave coming back in. Remember the pull
Okay.
rule? So nothing he can do. So what we
Yeah.
could look to do is just wait instead of fighting there, and see,
Mhm.
now we're pushing this in when he wants to just sit under his tower. So
Okay.
again, we're forcing waves into them. We may as well just put a nice bow on this wave and just, it's basically we're just gifting it for no reason. So
Okay.
instead, just let it naturally come back into you, and then you can engage in him as soon as he walks up. So
Okay.
that was a huge opportunity to get a kill that we kind of lost. And here we're very low. So see, we actually ended up with this crit cloak, which is kind of bad. So what do you think was one of the biggest problems here?
He still had his abilities
I mean,
when
yeah.
when
I
it.
mean, I think this engage was okay. I think this was fine. He walked out of position. He got punished for it. But
Yeah.
what do you think you did wrong?
Um,
What do you have
I
available?
flashed my ult.
Yeah, you used your ult as he was just about to die.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got no value out of this ult now. Your ult actually did
Right, right.
nothing, whereas that would have killed him, and you could have maybe even looked to chase down Jin as well, maybe,
Okay.
because you do have Senate ult as well.
Right. I wasted
So
all. Okay.
yeah, look how long it takes you. See here,
Yeah.
and now you pop it. Now another issue that you did is that you press ult before your Q was off cooldown,
Mm-hmm.
so you didn't actually manage to get that auto and Q with invisibility,
Okay.
because you just clicked it wrong. But
Okay.
I mean, now here we just reset. Because this Jin, if he gets a fourth shot, he kills you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no point even walking up that far. I guess it is a cannon. So you can claim this. Oh,
I missed it.
so we're going to just quickly, quick quiz. How many tower shots is it for a melee minion before you can last hit?
2.
Okay. How much is it for a range minion?
1.
E-
Because
mm,
you have to. It's two kills it though. No.
So you have to
Two.
auto it once.
Yeah.
So
Auto
yeah,
turret.
one auto
One shot.
tower, yeah, until you've got pickaxe, and then you can just do it with without.
Mm-hmm.
But how much is it for a cannon? This is the one that usually gets people.
7.
Yeah, 7, and then a last hit. Now the 6th will look like it's about to kill it, but it won't.
Mm-hmm.
You need that 7th.
Okay.
So we did miss that. So here as well, this is we're getting impatient.
Yeah. Yeah. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
see
I mean,
that.
no real reason to. We're 4-2-2
It's been
in
a
a
while.
lane against a lane bully. I mean, you did actually get a crit here, which is quite ironic. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're playing into a lane bully. If we get out of lane, even or slightly ahead, what does that mean for Jin?
He's in trouble.
Yeah, his variables that he controls are now gone, because
Right.
Jin's Jin consists of stomping lane, doing a lot. Jin is actually a very good pick into Vayne too, because one of the main things that you do against a Jin usually is you just funnel waves into his tower. You just pump him in and into his tower. That's why things like Tristana's good into him, because if he's under tower, he can't use his autos for the minions and you. So you can just keep doing that. Obviously support dependent, but Vayne can't really do that. So if you get out even or ahead, you're in a very, very good position. We're still buying pots though. We bought 2 pots. At this point, they're a waste of gold. Like, they're okay in the laning phase where you have like 600 HP, 700 HP. But then at this point, you're sitting on 1k. Like, it's not really going to do that much for you. And buying 2 of them is just delaying your mythic. Like, you basically just spent an entire cannon on 2 potions.
Okay.
But you've also got your Omnivamp. So you bought 3% Omnivamp from just the Nautilus and Varus dying, Jin dying, sorry. So again, we're looking to have push the wave. Just, we don't need to put this many autos in. The cannon's not bad because we want to delay. Whoa, this was bad now. Now they've just give you a free slow push. So they've just really messed up, but then you've counter messed up, you know? Like, so right here, they've give you a slow push. It won't freeze because the minions will drop too low, but it will slow push into them eventually. So by us auto attacking this, we're just pushing this wave into them sooner. Which might be the difference between us stacking 2 waves and 3, which is obviously a huge difference.
Just to clarify,
Uh-huh.
Uh, so the push pull thing. If
Uh-huh.
I have more minions on my side, I don't want to push.
So if you have,
Oh, I push slow.
yeah, if you have more minions on your side, you still last hit the minions, but you look to
Okay.
kind of be as aggressive as possible as soon as they walk up and try and hit a minion. So if they
Okay.
ever try and take one, you just walk up to them and beat them up.
Right. So I shouldn't kill these 3 million
No, you
minions, or
should get
even the
this as a
cannon.
slow push because right here, there's
Yeah.
nothing that you're going to be able to do with a single wave.
Okay.
Like, it's not going to actually provide you any substance. You're not going to be able to do
Okay.
anything in your lane with just one wave.
Right. So I just let it push into my tower.
I
Or
mean, if they want
let
to
it
push it
push.
into your tower, then sure.
Okay.
Because it will either end up resetting, which they'll
Mhm.
just push it into you again, or
Right.
it'll end up catching the next wave here and then just turning into another slow push.
Okay.
So yeah, it's fine there. Especially on champions like Vayne, where you can't really push anyway, so you're just looking to scale.
Mhm.
So right here, like, he used his hook, right? Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so here we can just go. So right here, just go on Jin.
Mhm.
Just R, Q, put a ward in this brush. Like, if as soon as you get a ward here, they're free wall.
Okay.
Like, you instantly wall them off and stun them,
Right.
which
Right.
is obviously great.
Yeah. Take advantage of abilities.
Yeah.
I need to work on that.
Even here, see, we don't ult. And now we ult while we're knocked up. Yeah. Okay, that's sad.
Yeah, I was really sad Zeref didn't shoot
Yeah.
Jin.
Now he does die. We do get some assists, but you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, making sure we take these opportunities, and this is why things like Vayne is hard because it's a case of knowing when. Like, there's some champions, right, where you can just do the same things all game, every game, and do well with. Like, for example, Tristana, you can as soon as you get level 2, you can start jumping into them. In some matchups, as soon as you get level 1, you can start jumping into them. Like,
Yeah.
and then you just jump into them over and over and over for the entire game. Where Vayne, you have to pace yourself. You have to go, okay, well, this
Yeah.
point I need to be safe. Now I can kill them. Bum bum bum. Like, if you get something like a Lulu, you win every 2v2. Now, what will actually happen sometimes in a very high, like a high elo of play, as soon as Vayne and Lulu are about to get level 6, if they're playing into things that will, like, get murked, like Jin Nautilus, what they'd even do is look to just, like, lane swap. And, like, they just go top lane and just avoid the Jinx Lulu level 6. So that's also something. Like, Vayne is probably the best duelist ADC, I'd say.
Okay.
Because true damage.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and one of the reasons, how do you counter true damage? So, if you want to itemize as
Oh,
a tank
health.
against true health, yeah, okay, great. Now, what if you want to itemize against percentage max HP?
Arm.
Yeah,
Or,
yeah, you build
yeah.
resistances.
Straight up arm.
Now, if you're doing true damage, which is also percentage max HP, in theory, the only thing that counters you in game is Frozen Heart.
Mhm.
And that's why Vayne's so good. Now, Frozen Heart is a very good item right now, which is very bad for Vayne, but that's one of the only ways to stop it. And just hard CC and blowing her up. Like, if you're, say, a 10-0 Syndra, you're going to blow her up, but even then it can be difficult. Now, here
Oh,
we
this was a
walk up.
bad call. Yeah.
Yeah. So, right now, there isn't a wave pushed into their tower bot lane, so there's no real reason that they can't move to this dragon. And Nocturne solo. So what we should have looked to do here is just go and push this wave into the tower, then maybe walked up for some vision, and then, you know, decided that we'd not go for it.
Yeah. This is very bad. We lost dragon and died.
Yeah, and die. Yeah. So that's not too hot.
Mhm.
And I mean, here, we didn't really need to push this wave either. This was going to come back into us. We could have looked to hold it, and semi-freeze it, you know?
Okay.
So here again, we're just pushing waves for no reason. So whenever you go to push a wave, you've got to think, what am I achieving from pushing this wave? And if you can't give yourself a sensible answer within 1 second, then don't push it. Like, if, say, for example, okay, the jungler wants to go to Dragon and the enemy Nunu is ganking top lane, then okay, yeah, you can hard push it and then move to dragon. But if you don't need priority, then don't get it.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of people that have this kind of belief that if you just push permanently, you're gonna have massive power over your enemy laner. Blah blah blah. I mean, sometimes it works, but overall, like it's not really something that you want to fixate on.
Okay.
Because you want to try and deny them as much gold and more importantly XP. XP is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here we just swap target way too much. So here going to Nautilus, great, okay. As soon as you decide to go on Jin here, you need to just stay on him.
Okay.
And then we just kind of walk into the tower. Okay, so now at this stage of the game, it's okay now, but in general, it's not really too safe to come bot lane now. And we're chasing this, but I mean it works, but this is still really not worth. Now, one thing here is we've just cleared a wave, and there's another wave coming up. So so the way minions work is the damage that they do and receive is based on the amount of towers that you have. So if, say, for example, they have your bot tower here, their minions will do more damage and take less damage than yours.
Okay.
So you can hold waves here infinitely. Like, actually infinitely. You can hold the wave in... not this spot. You can basically hold the wave here until 2,000 hours game time, if you do it properly.
Okay.
Because their minions do more damage. So, yeah, that's something you can also look to do, because right now we're pretty close to our PD. Like, so to be honest, we just want to make sure that we pick up that PD and then just play for the team when we're on 2 items. Because that's when we're, you know, starting to be really strong. Then we can use our 2-item spike to get our 3-item spike, and then etc, etc. But here we chase the Yasuo, which even if we get this kill, we're going to actually lose more gold out of bot lane. So, and we don't get the ability to freeze it because it crashed into the tower. So now that's pushing into them, and there's nothing we can do. So now we've just denied ourselves the ability to farm, and we have to fight. Which, to be fair, funny enough, it works because the Nautilus is interesting. But here, this is very risky face checking this brush. Ooh, no, this is really bad now. So now we're trying to take a camp that we're single target. This is going to do so much to us, it's unreal. And we've just tried to take 100 gold from this camp when we've lost maybe 400 gold in bot lane.
Oh yeah, sorry. Around this time I had a meeting that I had to go to.
Oh, don't worry, don't worry.
So I had a Zoom meeting.
No problem, no problem.
That's why I'm like.
It's fine, it's fine. So this was a very very interesting moment. To be fair.
Yeah, I didn't see the Gnar. It's another lock. So I thought I was just gonna like go into the Yasuo.
Yeah. So the thing is, this is kind of another misconception on Vayne, because who can you not do damage to as Vayne?
Who can I not win wall? Yasuo?
I mean, it was kind of a trick question. You can do damage against everyone as Vayne because you do true damage. So the squishies, if they walk up, okay, great, you know, we can kill them, but we don't need to go on them. We can just melt whoever's closest. So like this Nunu, we just come back and we just kill him. We just completely melt him and then we move on. Like we don't really have any reason to flash in, especially flashing into the middle of them. And we were setting a power spike as well, so if we would have just reset and bought that, then we would have had a much better chance anyway. So yeah, don't feel like this is kind of like the Yasuo effect. Yasuo is a champion that can be very oppressive in the right matchup in lane, but you have to be extremely mechanically good on the champion in order to make it work early game. But Yasuo's big thing is that he scales extremely well. So a lot of lower elo players make the mistake if they try to fight early on Yasuo, and that's where the kind of 0 and 10 meme comes from, because by the time they're 0 and 10, they'll have 1 item or 2 items, whereas if they would have just waited until that point, then they'd be stomping every game, you know? So it's kind of the same here, where we're just kind of rushing it way too much.
Okay.
Like, when there's no reason. We're probably one of the hardest scaling champions in the game, just because of the nature of our kit. So there's not really anybody. Well, I mean, you'll have like Jinx, who's potentially better in a team fight in certain situations, but Vayne scales extremely well. Right, like here as well. So we kind of walk up into the Gnar for no reason, and now we use our Q without using our ult. So if we just wait for our ult and then ult Q'd, we have a much better chance.
Okay.
Okay, so again, we're not really controlling waves much. We're not really focusing on keeping waves pushed out. So this is not too bad. So we should have just... Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I walked through the wall. That's my bad.
yeah.
I
So,
forgot Gnar.
so the problem isn't just walking towards the wall. We were in auto attack range here, and look how beefy our set is. He can literally keep us alive for ages. And our W doesn't really matter that we lose levels as much, or that we're behind like this, because our W is an insane ability. So right here, there's no reason to walk near the wall or kite this way. We just stand back and just kill him from range.
Okay.
So here as well, we could have just eaten him. Just as soon as he starts using ult, just E. So here, just E him.
Oh, right.
And he wouldn't have bought all this time, because this time that he's bought is very valuable. Okay. So we go fix the wave mid, and then we go Baron. And then we go Baron. Okay. So we could just kill him here. Remember, Set's got a ton of CC. So if he's hitting Set, he's not hitting us. And that's what's the important part. And that's one of the big things with ADCs. And this is why these low-range ADCs are also very hard. Because you have to know when they're hitting certain people, what you can do. So it's like, oh, they're hitting Set there. Okay, well, they're not hitting me. I can just kill them all.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so again, we just kind of... It's big on our kind of positioning. Okay. So we lost this. So what went wrong?
We lost?
Did you? I thought you said you lost this game.
Yeah, we lost this game.
Yeah. So here, this is just, you can't really come here. So you can't really help them.
Yeah.
So instead, just go and clear out the bot side jungle. Because by the time you get there, the fight is over. So just go clear out the jungle and just keep scaling.
Okay.
Also, we're going into a GA. No. GA is really bad. Unless you're like snowballing and you've got like a 700 gold bounty, GA is just not worth it.
Okay.
And if you're going to go with anything at this point of the game, if you are going to go for GA, just go sell the Doran's Blade and go stopwatch.
Okay.
Or just go stopwatch instead.
Right.
Or do you turn it into GA or IE? Sorry.
GA.
Okay.
I don't think
IE
I
you
get there
can't
if we
build
lose.
it. You can't build it with Ginzus, I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, they got.
Yeah, then we just lose here.
Yeah, so we kind of got caught. See how far we're pushing up. This wave is always coming in. No reason to really be up that far. We just want to be behind our tanky teammates at all times.
Okay.
So we do kind of throw that there. So, so last thing, do you have any kind of sticky notes to hand?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Maybe pick some up whenever you get a chance. They're really good. Just because one of the
Okay.
things you can do is just put down on some sticky notes things to improve on, and just put them around
Mhm.
your monitor, and you'll kind of subconsciously always remind yourself what to improve on. So, I think the main
Okay.
things we probably focus on is I would heavily suggest learning unlocked camera. It's going to help you a lot.
Okay.
Um, the next thing I think we really need to focus on is utilizing that push pull rule and
Mhm.
allowing the waves to naturally come in and out because we want to scale. Now, if say for
Okay.
example you're playing something like again Lucian Samira where you want to really stomp early game, that's where you have power that you don't need to respect that, but you need to respect that they can do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, using that push pull rule really important. Making sure that we're a kind of practicing farming a bit more. Practice till 10 minutes only last hits with autos and only starter items.
Yeah.
That'll just get you much more used to it. And again, just kind of again, I think another thing is just thinking, why am I pushing this wave? And again, if you can't give yourself that answer, then it's a bad idea.
Okay.
And also turn auto attack off in your
Yeah,
settings
I
too.
already turned that off.
Okay, so before we wrap up, is there any kind of questions or anything you've got?
Uh, well, okay. So here's the thing with me. I generally don't like playing one champion that I'm good at. Do you think I should play like a lot of champions or just like
No,
one trick one?
I think just play one, because the thing is,
Okay.
if you start playing multiple champions, you'll have to learn matchups on those champions. You have to
Mhm.
learn a completely different play style.
Right.
I mean, sometimes you can say if say Vayne gets picked banned, you can pick
Hmm.
another, hyperscaling ADC, something like the Jinx, perfectly fine.
Okay.
She does a similar thing. She won't be as strong as Vayne, but it's the
Right.
same play style. You just scale for late. You just push and
Okay.
pull. You kind of just point guard those minions. That's completely fine. But yeah, so just if you have to fall back on another champion, just make sure it's the
Mm.
same kind of play style, and you'll be okay,
Okay.
especially because you're an ADC. If you pick up, like I said,
Okay.
something like that Ezreal, all of a sudden you're gonna have to learn how to be a lane bully. You're gonna learn how to kind of farm with your Qs. You've got to learn how to be a lot more safe in lane. There's a
Yeah.
lot more. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so stick to the same champions and don't kind of spread
Okay.
yourself too thin over the
Right.
champions that you can play. Otherwise, the time that you're putting
Yeah.
in to try and learn the game, you're just going to be learning the champion. You're not really going to learn any new concepts or anything new about the game
Right.
because you're just going to be focused on your champ. So yeah, I'd say
Okay.
just stick to one champ. If you do want to play like other games, maybe go on like a Smurf or Flex Q, something like that, and just kind of
Hmm.
get rid of that kind of urge to play other champions, and then go back into ranked and play the same
Okay.
champ again.
Um,
Yep.
other than that, sorry, I have another question.
No, no worries, no
Will
worries.
will I be doing anything different like playing in a team? Because I will be joining like the varsity team.
Um, I think
Do you have any
the
tips for that? Or?
the value that you would bring with just being a higher elo would
Hmm.
probably exceed the need to play a massive amount of champions. So when
Okay.
it comes to kind of playing comp, you just still play champions at the same playstyle, like Vayne,
Hmm.
Jinx, maybe a bit of Tristana, stuff like that, and you just make that your pool. They're not going to ban
Okay.
all three of those champions, and ADC is usually like a very early pick. But
Hmm.
I mean, you can also go things like see this thing. If you start playing stuff like Varus, you have to learn how to
Yeah.
play poke ADCs,
Hmm.
and you have to know how to engage stuff like that. But
Right.
so yeah, you can if you're forced onto other things in comp. You could just go
Hmm.
with basic things. Like you just go, okay, I'm not on a champion I'm comfortable with. I'm just gonna go Ash. We're gonna put a mid, jungle, and top on champions I'm comfortable
Hmm.
with, and we just don't die.
Hmm.
And then as long as you don't die, you provide value to your team because they can do things elsewhere. You just have to learn
Okay.
how to play weak side. Like I'm
All right.
sure we'll probably end up going over team stuff anyway, since
Right.
I coach the team that you'll be playing for anyway, so we'll
Right.
probably end up going over that stuff in
Okay.
like another call
Hmm.
anyway. So I wouldn't
Right.
worry about that too much for now. Just focus on seeing how high you can get in solo queue, and just
Okay.
kind of keeping a good mindset as you're playing.
Okay. Last question.
Yeah, no worries.
What champion should I like learn? I know you said Vayne is difficult, but
Yeah.
like what champion should I put time in that's like decent now?
I mean, to be fair, like Vayne is kind of good because it's kind of tank meta, but like I said, she's hard. I mean, we do
Yeah.
have the things like, say, a Jinx. We can play that. Okay, great.
Mhm.
Another very valuable champion that will be valuable in comp and solo queue is probably something like Misfortune.
Okay.
Misfortune kind of plays, so she's more of a utility-based ADC, but she can be very aggressive in lane. So it
Okay.
will take a bit of. I'd say the biggest thing with MF is just go through and read her kit fully, because there's a lot of interactions. Like for example, your passive does bonus damage the first time you hit something, but that can be
Right.
reset on each thing. So you can say auto them, auto a minion, auto them again, and apply it again. Your Q
Okay.
will always crit if it bounces off. I think it does less damage than a normal crit, but if it last hits a minion and then hits them, it'll always crit, which is very
Right.
good for laning phase. Your E is very good too. MF is kind of like Varus in the fact of she has two modes. She has a poke mode where you go Comet and or Dark Harvest even, and just play with your E. Play around your E, just go a lot of mana, lethality, and just play poke. Keep them under the tower. Or then you have kind of the all-out kind of build where you go. If they're lower range, you can go something like PTA and just run them down with autos, which is really good. And obviously, then you also have the competitive side of it, where you can go things like a Black Cleaver and even a Wit's End. And if you ult the entire enemy team, they're going to have their armor reduced by, 35% or whatever Black Cleaver is now. And also, they will not heal too, which can be very good as well. And that could be great. If you pair that with something like a J4 jungle, then that's
Yeah.
very, very good. It's one of the strongest ADCs in solo queue as well. And that's easy to play anyway. You have things like Ashe and Sivir that are kind of easy to play, but they're not as good. But MF, very, very good. Jinx, very good. So yeah.
Okay.
Like, obviously, there's the whole crazy stuff that you can. People are finally realizing you can take mages bot lane, things like Ziggs. That are
Right.
very
Right.
good, like Ziggs, Seraphine, even things like Karthus, and be very, very good. But again, that's a completely different play style again.
Okay.
So yeah, so I think just stick to these champions, see how it goes, and just see if we can just get to gold for now. Like, your main goal
Okay.
is to just get to gold, try and play some good quality games, and just play around that.
Okay.
So yeah, I think
Sounds good.
focus on those things for now, see how that goes, and I'll give you an invite to my server now, and if you need anything, obviously just give me a message.
All right.
Right, no worries, I'll speak to you in a bit
Well,
anyway, take care.
thank you.
Catch you in a bit,
Bye.
bye bye bye.